Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, if you follow European football at all, you know a massive earthquake has just completely shaken up the world's most prestigious club competition. Our goal today is to decode the brand new Champions League format. People are calling it the Swiss model, where teams compete in one giant league instead of separate little groups. We're going to look at the numbers, the structure, and figure out exactly what this all means for your favorite clubs.
So, to understand this new era, we have to tackle the massive elephant in the room right away. You tune into the Champions League, and those familiar, cozy four-team groups you've literally known for decades are just gone. The traditional group stage is completely a thing of the past. So you're probably wondering why the drastic change and what on earth has replaced it.
Well, to understand the sheer scale of this, listen to what UEFA's Deputy Secretary, Giorgio Marchetti, had to say. He calls this the most revolutionary, or evolutionary, change in 30 years. And honestly, that is not an understatement. UEFA has been working on this exact format since 2018. Their goal? They want to generate way more massive games between top teams earlier in the season. But fundamentally, they want to increase the jeopardy of the early rounds. They want every single match to actually matter.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the core change, which is honestly staggering. We're moving from a fragmented system of 8 separate groups of 4 into one massive, high-stakes, unified league table. The entire competition has expanded from 32 up to 36 clubs. And instead of dividing them all up into little silos, literally everyone is now competing on the exact same ladder.
Now you might be thinking, how do you play a league phase without playing everyone else in the league? Great question. Here is the new match structure. Every team is going to play exactly 8 matches, which is an increase from the old 6. But crucially, you face 8 entirely different opponents. That's right, you no longer play the same team twice in this phase. You get 4 matches at home and 4 away. To figure out who plays who, teams are placed into 4 seeding pots based on their historical performance ranking. You'll draw 2 teams from each of the 4 pots. This is a real game changer because it means right out of the gate, top-tier teams are going head-to-head with other top-tier teams. Okay, here is where the stakes get absolutely brutal. At the end of these 8 matches, we look at that massive 36-team table. The top 8 teams, they advance directly to the round of 16. If you finish between 9th and 24th, you aren't out, but you definitely aren't safe. You're forced into a high-pressure 2-legged playoff just to reach the knockouts. But the harshest reality is at the bottom. Teams finishing 25th to 36th are eliminated entirely. I really want to emphasize this. There is no longer a Europa League safety net. If you finish in the bottom 12, your European campaign is over. Done. The jeopardy is incredibly real.
So with all these super complex rules, picking 2 teams from 4 pots, making sure you play 8 different teams, ensuring clubs from the same country don't play each other, how do you actually draw the matches? Well, UEFA ran some trials, and they quickly realized that a traditional manual draw, pulling the little balls out of glass bowls, would take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. We are literally talking about a broadcast as long as the Oscars. Human hands simply cannot do the math fast enough anymore.
So, what's the fix? An automated draw. Now, only the very first team from pot 1 is selected manually. After that, a highly advanced computer program just takes over the whole shebang. This software, which was developed by a specialized company in Hertfordshire, instantly assigns the opponents and figures out the home and away games. And look, I know what some of you are thinking, trusting a computer with your club's fate. But UEFA brought in the heavy hitters. The entire process is strictly audited by the major accountancy firm Ernst & Young to guarantee that everything is 100% secure, transparent, and fair. All right, let's talk magic numbers. With everyone playing 8 games and desperately trying to finish in that prized top 8 to skip the playoff round, the data analysts have been running the numbers. The Opta supercomputer actually simulated this league phase 50,000 times, and their conclusion? 16 points out of a possible 24. That breaks down to 5 wins and a draw, and it almost certainly guarantees you a top 8 finish. That is the gold standard that every single top club is chasing right now.
But the margins we're talking about here are incredibly tight. Let's say a team drops just 1 point off that golden target, landing at 15 points, so essentially 5 wins and 3 losses. The supercomputer says they still have a massive 73% chance of bypassing those playoffs entirely and booking a direct ticket to the round of 16. So that race to get 5 wins, it is absolutely paramount.
Now, what about the teams who are just fighting to survive? Down at the bottom of the table, 10 points is your crucial lifeline. If a team can scrap together just 3 wins and a draw across their 8 matches, the data suggests they are pretty much guaranteed to secure a top 24 finish. That keeps their European dreams alive by getting them into that playoff round.
And the tension right at that cutoff line is going to be agonizing. If a team manages 9 points, say 3 wins and 5 losses, they still have a very respectable 69% chance of squeaking into 24th place. But watch this. Drop just 1 more point down to 8, and those survival hopes absolutely plummet to a mere 16%. Think about that. Every single draw, every single late equalizer in this new format could literally be the difference between advancing and being knocked out of Europe completely.
A lot of fans are asking, does it actually matter where you finish in the top 8 or in the top 24? Oh, absolutely it does. UEFA introduced this brilliant new tennis-style seeding system. Just like in a Grand Slam, the teams that finish first and second in the league phase are placed on complete opposite sides of the knockout bracket. That means they cannot possibly meet until the final. Plus, the top 4 teams get a massive advantage. They get to host the second leg at home for both the round of 16 and the quarterfinals. Even in the playoffs, finishing 9th means you draw the team that finished 24th. So yeah, your exact league position matters all the way to the very end.
Now, because of those 2 extra match days, the league phase actually spills over into January, which creates a totally brand new timeline for us. The all-important playoff draw happens on January 30th. The teams that survived that brutal extra round will then join the top 8 for the round of 16, kicking off on March 10th. Quarterfinals start April 7th. Semifinals follow in late April and early May, setting the entire stage for the grand finale.
And that brings our chronological journey to its final geographical climax. All of this intense, computer-drawn, high-stakes league and knockout action leads to one single destination. On Saturday, May 30th, 2026, the 2 surviving juggernauts will clash at the spectacular Puskás Arena in Budapest. That is exactly where the ultimate victor of this incredibly demanding new format is going to be crowned.
So, we are left with this final burning question. Will this computer-driven, mathematically complex, high-stakes league structure actually deliver the ultimate edge-of-your-seat jeopardy that European football has been craving? One thing is for sure, the old days of resting star players in Game 6 because a team is already qualified, those days are over. Every goal, every point, and every ranking position will matter right down to the final whistle of Matchday 8. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. I really hope you walk away with a crystal clear understanding of the new Champions League. And I don't know about you, but I cannot wait to see how all this drama actually unfolds on the pitch.